tinnitus, in my mind, is both a physical and a mental sort of challenge, meaning that you hear the ringing, you physically hear the ringing, but you have to also sort of get your mind in the right place. And I really, really believe that. And the reason why I got involved in sharing my experience is because about 4 or 5 years ago, I experienced a really bad spike in my tinnitus.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And back then, I'm sort of a private person. I'm not sort of someone who goes on forums and shares their stories. There's nothing wrong with that. I encourage people to do that, but that's just not my style. So I felt terribly alone. And it got very dark. And I didn't know where to turn to. I went on all the forums, all the sort of, information forums, looking for and praying that, something would be coming up down the pipeline in terms of medical solutions. And it got really difficult. I'm a professional musician. I have to sort of play to earn money. And I remember it was in November 17th of 2007, November 16th of 2017. And I had some Christmas shows to play that I had to play. Like I was contracted and everything. And I was having this terrible spike in my ears. And I couldn't find many resources of where I could find help. And I Googled musicians with tinnitus, and I found one guy who had some tinnitus, and he was sort of, gave me a few tips. And then I found a DJ who had actually opened up about it. He's a very well-known DJ. And he'd done an interview in a big magazine. And I actually contacted him and I said, look, I just want to say how much your article meant to me and how inspiring it was for me. He got back in touch with me straight away, and he sent me his phone number. And it was a deeply emotional time for me, because I thought, my God, this guy is a well-known DJ and I'm, just some guy in Norway. And he said, look, if you need to talk, call me. I didn't call him because I didn't want to bother the guy. The guy was constantly on tour. He was like, all over the world, But we exchanged some messages. And for me, the idea that there was another guy out there in my position who could get it done, continue with being a musician, or a DJ in his case, it was inspiring to me. He got me out of that situation. I went and did the gigs and I got through it. That's when I learned that tinnitus is also very much a mental game. So when I wrote the book, I absolutely wanted it to be something that had tools, something that had steps that you could go forward, things that you could action and say, okay, I'm in this situation, but here's things I can do. And I really believe in the idea of heroes and the idea of inspiring people, because I know that the people that inspire us, they were inspired by people themselves. That's how it works. They look to people like, you think of Muhammad Ali, he looked at other boxers, he looked at religion, he looked at religious leaders. Everyone has people, when you see strong people, they have people in their head who inspire them. And it's almost like a chain that goes down. And I think it's very, very important for people with tinnitus to take steps to protect their hearing, but also to take steps to get their mind in the right place. And this is not some mystical meditation, Zen-like thing. I don't do that stuff. I wish I did. I wish I was that smart. But what I'm saying is that if you get pictures in your mind of strong people, there's another example I give, Roger Federer, who I think is an amazing person, athlete, all around amazing, right? And I read a quote.
Yeah, sorry, Jack. I just wanted to say I love that as well. I just wanted to interject. You talk about the pain aspect, don't you, with Roger Federer?
Yeah. Like, again, during that time, because I was really struggling, I didn't know what to do. I remember reading a quote, and I don't know how I came across it, but he says something along the lines of, being a professional tennis player means knowing how to deal or how to manage playing while being injured or dealing with pain. And again, I was just like, it got me emotional, because I was like, that's how I feel, And I so getting to the point, I really encourage people who are struggling with tinnitus or any sort of challenge that they are facing, look to other people who have overcome challenges, because it will inspire you greatly. Like that film, When We Were Kings, man, I love that film. Like you can't help but stop that film at the end and go, I can achieve anything, I can do anything. And it sounds corny, it sounds ridiculous, and it's pretty much something that you could laugh at. But that's exactly the kind of thing that we need as people that suffer from tinnitus. We don't need to know that there's no cure. We don't need, because we already know that. We don't need to know that there's this and there's that, and the ENT is not going to help you. What we need to know is you can do it. You can get yourself out of a hole. And I say this because I've been in some pretty dark places with my tinnitus. Like, it gets difficult. It gets really, really difficult, especially as a musician, because, you know, you got to pay bills. You got to keep going. You know, you got two choices. You either stop music and give up what you've been working for your entire life, or what you love doing, you know, since you're 14. I mean, my father's a musician. I mean, it goes deep, you know. So you either give up music or you find ways to deal with it. That's the reality of it. That's just how it is.
That's incredible. It's a lovely answer. Thank you very much, Jack. And